everyone, it's Mutant Buster Green, and today I have a quick review of Ace Combat 7. Now, I'm going to start off by saying I have not played Ace Combat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. This is not a series I'm super familiar with, and I don't really have a ton of love for it. So, why did I suddenly play number 7? Well, my PSVR has been collecting dust for quite a few months, and Ace Combat 7 contains Ace Combat VR. So when I saw this game on sale for $20, I figured I would give it a chance because I can't travel in an airplane this year, and I just had this really strong urge to be inside an airplane all of a sudden. And I decided to deal with that. I want to play a chill flying an airplane game. Also, just for the record, the best chill flying an airplane game is Pilotwings 64. Specifically the America level in Pilotwings 64. And a big part of me would have much rather just played Pilotwings 64 again, because nothing really compares to that feeling of flying past a gas station in Georgia in a rocket pack. But anyway, so I bought AC7, and let me break down how I played this game. So before I played Ace Combat VR, because that's what I really wanted to do, I found out that I had to play Ace Combat 7 on normal difficulty, because that's how you get the hang of the controls. And apparently you need to know the controls from AC7 to play ACVR. So that ended up taking me quite some time. Now, when I started playing AC7, I, to start with, was impressed, but also a little bit bored, because to play this game, you need to be very high in the air, and you need to be very far away from everything that you need to target or otherwise see. And you spend a very large chunk of time in this game totally alone, high up in the sky, very high off the ground. And it's a little bit boring because the stages are kind of long. So AC7 is the story of a dude named Trigger. Trigger is you, the player. And he otherwise has no place or bearing in the story unraveling around him. Now he never talks, you never see what he looks like, and a majority of the main characters never directly interact with him, they just kind of talk about him. Anyway, after a few tutorial missions, he's framed for a crime he obviously didn't commit, and then he has to fight in a prison slave labor air force until he's randomly forgiven because of how sweet an airplane pilot he is. And then along the way, you get these super abstract cutscenes detailing the stories of a bitchy, half-naked female mechanic who hates everyone and everything, the short-haired princess who once made out with Sonic the Hedgehog and has finally gotten herself a second job in a video game, a mad scientist of some kind, and a crazy old man who has turned himself into an airplane because it beats going to a retirement home. Oh, and there's this pretty cool semi-recurring mobile armor style boss called the Arsenal Bird, which is basically a big air glider covered in drones. It's pretty cool, and it's one of the only sci-fi elements in the story that really stand out. So anyway, the story revolves around an alternate Earth with alternate, unspecific, not real countries, but very specific former American and former Russian planes, and a very 2009 space elevator that eventually causes some sort of world war and then some sort of civil war. And then the stories about drones and how much they suck, and how bad they are for the actual human beings who have to fight against them. And when you put all these tropes together, it feels very Gundam, except without the robots. So I like that. That was cool. Now, there are a variety of pretty cool stages in the game, and they do feel a little bit like they're just trying to be training manuals for the Air Force. Now, they give you some very realistic scenarios like flying a plane at night, how to land a plane, how to attack suburban Italy in World War II, how to survive Operation Desert Storm in the Gulf War, what happens if you don't know who to shoot in the middle of a war. And overall, the game did give me some good perspective about how hard a job being an Air Force pilot is, and how they can be used strategically to execute military airstrikes in the middle of a war or the siege of a major country. So anyway, then here's how my playthrough of the campaign mode went. Now, the first mission in AC7, I beat it by complete dumb luck. I have no idea what I did, and I just got through it without knowing what I was doing. Then the second mission, I got stuck on that mission for like probably 2 days because I had no idea what I was doing, and it took me forever to figure out that in this game, the missiles have to be manually locked onto targets before you can shoot them and before they will hit their targets. And this game was not explained in the game. Maybe it was explained in Ace Combat 6 or Ace Combat 1, but I only found out by combing Reddit and finding people complaining about it. So go figure. Anyway, then after that, I beat mission 3 and 4 pretty easily. And then I got stuck. I got stuck really hard. Because AC7 has a very vicious problem with its gameplay. You see, to unlock the good planes in this game, you need to do a shit ton of grinding. And there's no good way to do that in the single player mode. Because in AC7, the average stage takes about a half hour for every single stage. And that's a half hour if you do the stage perfectly. Otherwise, that stage takes hours. And then after you finally beat the stage, you get a little bit of experience points for your one time beating the stage. And the experience points you get are not even good. And now here's where the game gets really stupid and a little bit evil. So initially I stopped playing this game because I just could not get experience to grind up my planes. But I found out after that there's a huge missing component of this game. And the missing component is stuck behind the paywall of PS Plus. Now, if you have PS Plus, you can grind up your experience super fucking fast by playing multiplayer, which unfortunately involves paying the $5 a month PS Plus fee. Now, in a stupid coincidence, I did not have PS Plus when I bought this game, but I have one right now because I just got one this week because I'm attempting to buy a PS5 from Sony Direct, and PS Plus members supposedly get priority when they do that. Except I still haven't bought a PS5, so I might have just been totally scammed out of my money by Sony. But since this has occurred, I now have PS Plus, and I could finally beat this game by easily doing the grinding in multiplayer to get my stupid planes. So yeah, every time you play a match in multiplayer, which takes 5 minutes, you get between 60 to 100,000 experience points in 5 fucking minutes. And you get that experience even if you don't press any buttons and you just get your ass handed to you. Versus playing single player, you would have to survive an extremely difficult mission that can take over 40 minutes for the same amount of EXP. Now, the multiplayer itself is just dumb. It's really fucking dumb. It's literally 4 grown men in airplanes doing loop-de-loops over each other again and again and again until one of them finally gets tired out and explodes. There are no cool strategies here. There are no items. There are no finesse. It's just people going in circles until explosions. And I'm really disappointed in this because on the one hand, it's realistic because this is real people doing real things. But at the same time, it's not realistic because no real people would behave like this. That many loop-de-loops would definitely make the average person sick or dead. So that's fucking dumb. Like they need to fucking limit that. So regretfully, I did all my grinding in this very lame-ass multiplayer. I had a few fun rounds here and there, but for the most part, I ended up giving up after getting my ass killed by too many maxed out players who had all the best gears, and I ultimately just let the game run on itself while I ate some tacos and racked up my EXP. Now, eventually after like 2 hours of that, I had enough money to unlock the best 2 planes in the game, and then those 2 planes carried me through the rest of the entire campaign. Now from here on out, every mission after that was tough but fair. And honestly, the only real problem was that since every stage was about 20 minutes long, and that's 20 minutes if you don't fuck it up, I found myself feeling literally mentally exhausted because you don't get saves in every stage. In fact, you're lucky if you get 1 or 2 saves in a stage because most stages you can't save it. So it was just so annoying trying to keep my head on straight for that long to finish the stage. And the only times I ever got outright defeated after I leveled up was a couple of stages I took the wrong gear to the wrong stage, So it's definitely important ahead of time to know whether you're going to need extra weapon to fight land forces or air forces, but this is really the only choice you need to make to decide your victory. So otherwise, I was really happy with the good variety of stages I found in campaign mode. And they kept it very interesting with a wide variety of different objectives and challenges. Like, I had some good memories playing this one. There was like the obvious Gulf War analogy stage, a stage where you flew through like a Grand Canyon to nuke an unsuspecting airport on the beach, a stage set in a semi-underwater coastal flooded city, and one of my favorite stages was set in like an Alaska-Russia area where you got to blow up all these oil platforms, and that was pretty freaking sweet. Now, it was overall a very realistic video game up until the last 2 levels, where all of a sudden it turned into Star Fox 64 on me. And I'm okay with that because, quite frankly, a video game should try to have some memorable, cool, unrealistic stuff before it's over. So, Ace Combat 7. I liked it a lot. It was definitely fun, but it gets a 6 out of 10. And the reason for that is there is no good way to grind in the campaign outside of playing multiplayer. And multiplayer is locked behind PS Plus, which is a paywall. Literally, it's a pay-to-win game. And I consider this such a major sin because it's totally fucked up to sell a game and then have to pay an additional service to finish the game. Like, I should really be angry at Sony for charging me money every month to use the internet service that I already pay the internet company money every month to use. I mean, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is my life? I mean, what the hell? Jeez. I mean, if it wasn't for that, the score would be higher, because otherwise it's a super realistic and great airplane sim, and it's probably one of the most realistic depictions of Air Force combat. But wait. So, in all the chaos of Ace Combat 7 being a pay-to-win game, I never got to cover Ace Combat VR, which was the whole reason I bought this dumb game in the first place. So, holy shit, Ace Combat VR is a fucking revelation. So, what sucked so viciously hard about AC7 was that if I had an enemy in my sights, he was right in front of me, and then that enemy flew off my TV screen and I lost track of him, there was literally no way for me to find that guy. Now, I know I could have used my camera stick to like jostle around and try to find him, but that would lead to a disastrous situation where while I was doing that, I wouldn't be flying my plane, I would lose control and crash. But in AC7, I can use my fucking neck. I can just look up, I can look down, I can see that motherfucker, and I can turn my plane right into him and kill him. So man, ACVR, way easier than AC7 for that reason alone, and that just felt so much better and so much more natural. And on top of that, the graphics just looked way more realistic in VR. Like in AC7, they kind of looked like a painting, but in VR, like I could see wind scratches on the cockpit of my plane, and everything was just a super pleasant experience. Like in ACVR, I swear to God, I could feel the sun shining on my face. And maybe that was just in my mind, maybe that was some kind of illusion, but I believed it, and that's all that really mattered. Now, unfortunately, ACVR is just 3 really bland stages. These stages don't stand out at all, and honestly, that really just makes the game kind of a fancy tech demo. But man, oh man, this game would have been so hardcore if I just had been able to play the stages from AC7 in VR mode. Like, or if I could have played ACVR and got experience to grind up the stages in AC7. That also would have made the game better. Like, if AC7 had just been in VR, it could have been the greatest VR game ever made. Oh man, this is just such a miss here. Like, both of these games could have like taken a lot from each other and been so much better if they had just gelled more, you know? ACVR, if I graded that by itself, I would give that an 8 out of 10 because that was fucking phenomenal. And I really hope that if there ever is an AC-8, they need to just make the whole game in VR. That would make me so happy, and I would definitely buy that game. Now, ACVR was just otherwise too short, but it still stands up as the best VR airplane game on the PSVR. So that finally is my review of AC7 and ACVR. Now, for any of my regular viewers on this channel, I'm just letting you guys know ahead of time that my Gundam live stream will definitely be this Tuesday at 10, unless something weird happens and GBGW crashes. If the game crashes, then I'm going to push the live stream to Wednesday morning. I do have some serious things I want to figure out on this week's live stream, so definitely if you consider me your friend, drop by. I would like to have you around. Now, to anyone else, please subscribe to my channel. I need 500 more subscribers, and then YouTube will start paying me to make these videos. And I need that because I'm out of work. COVID has shut down my job, and I don't have a job. Okay, thank you, people. I am Buster Green, and I once flew an airplane. Peace.